Now on the afternoon edition, the wife of accused of stabbing her husband to death, faced a judge for the first time. The ruling to keep her behind bars coming up. Governor Ron DeSantis calling for more changes to education. We'll tell you what he wants for teachers across the state. And NASA taking time to honor the astronauts who gave their lives in the name of space exploration. Spectrum News 13 at noon begins now. Good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us on the afternoon edition on a Thursday. It is almost the end of the week already. I'm Eric Levy here on 13. Let's take a look right now. Weather on the ones. Certified meteorologist David Hecker joining us now on a Thursday. Good to see you, David. And some nice weather continuing. I think we're the envy of the nation.
Yeah, very nice stretch of weather here, Eric, across Central Florida. Of course, last week we were well below average. This week we've been well above average. And that's going to continue to be the trend line here as we move into the rest of the afternoon. Great midday. Getting ready to head out the door and get some lunch on the FBC Mortgage weather cam over downtown Orlando. And highs today a little bit warmer than where we have been the last couple of days. Upper 70s, low 80s. It is going to be cooler again along the coastline courtesy of the Atlantic waters. We'll still make it though to 81 in Orlando, 78 in Titusville. And then tonight, just like the last couple of nights, some patchy fog will be developing across the area. May want a very light jacket if you're going to be out later on tonight with overnight lows back down into the upper 50s and low 60s. I'll be back to take a close look at more great weather in store and the return of some rain chances for the weekend. That's all coming up on your weather on the ones.
See you later, David. Thank you very much. New this afternoon, the wife of a UCF executive now charged in his killing faced a judge for the first time today. Danielle Redlick facing second-degree murder charges as well as tampering with evidence. Spectrum News 13's Deborah Souverain outside the Orange County Jail with the latest.
This arrest affidavit details a night of violence and an attempt to cover it up. Now, court records show that Danielle Redlick tried to divorce her husband last year, but a judge denied her petition, saying that her husband wasn't properly served divorce papers. Well, now she's in custody here at the Orange County Jail, accused of murdering him.
They found the victim stabbed in a pool of blood, his arm stretched in a T position.
The 45-year-old mother of two is charged with second-degree murder and tampering with evidence.
It's enhanced to a life felony when there's a weapon.
This body cam video is from a probation violation arrest last month in Seminole County that's not related to her husband's murder. But according to the arrest affidavit, Danielle Redlick initially said she was the victim. She told detectives her husband, UCF executive Michael Redlick, got upset after spotting her eating a burger. She claimed her husband bit into the burger and spit some of it in her face. Now, according to the report, she told detectives she then grabbed a knife, which her husband took, and began stabbing himself. Autopsy records indicate Michael was stabbed once in the chest and likely bled out within minutes.
This defendant erased multiple text messages between the victim and herself.
According to detectives, Danielle waited nearly 12 hours before she called police. She said it was because she couldn't find her phone. However, investigators say phone records showed she was on a dating site 2 hours before she notified police about the, quote, tragedy that happened at her home. Danielle Redlick was denied bond on the second-degree murder charge. She's facing up to life in prison. Reporting in Orlando, Deborah Souverain, Spectrum News 13.
Also today, we have an update to a story we've been following since late last year. Orange County detectives arrested two people who they say shot and killed a man on Michigan Street in Orlando. Jillian Bisong and Michael Perry charged in the death of 43-year-old Beretta Powell. This was the scene from West Michigan Street back on December 26th. Powell was rushed to a hospital where he died. Bisong and Perry were taken to the Orange County Jail on felony second-degree murder charges. The investigation continues into a deadly shooting in West Orlando where a man was found dead in a driveway yesterday. Happened along Malibu Street, which is just off South Ivy Lane, south of the 408. And this comes just days after another deadly shooting on Sunday that happened 7 blocks away. Now, if you know anything that can help solve this, call Crime Line 1-800 1-800-423 TIPS. New on the afternoon edition, 3 people were rushed to the hospital after a crash on the Central Florida Parkway. This is a video from Sky 13 just around 9 this morning. Orange County Fire Rescue telling us 2 people were taken to ORMC. Another was taken to Orlando Health Dr. Phillips Hospital. There are no word on their condition. Governor Ron DeSantis is talking education in Tampa today. The governor's been on the go since he was sworn into office, with classroom changes taking the forefront lately. Spectrum News 13's Jason Lanning was there at Armwood High School for the latest announcement.
Things that I said we needed to do during the campaign was to make sure that we were rewarding and maintaining our great teachers.
Yes, he did. And to do it, the governor says he wants an overhaul of the Best and Brightest program. That relies heavily on standardized test results to determine teacher pay. The governor wants to see more than $422 million pumped in for teacher and principal pay raises based on a new merit system. The governor is also proposing a new teacher recruitment program to find and keep new teachers.
We are unveiling a new recruitment program which will go $10 million a year for the next 5 years for a loan and tuition forgiveness program for as many as 1,700 new teachers who commit to working as a Florida teacher for 5 years.
Jason Lanning, Spectrum News 13.
Florida Congressman Mark Gates clashed with 2 fathers whose children were killed in the massacre at the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland last year. Congressman Gates linked gun violence to illegal immigration, arguing a border wall would prevent more violence than background checks.
I hope we do not forget the pain and anguish and sense of loss felt by those all over the country who have been the victims of violence at the hands of illegal aliens. H.R. 8 would not have stopped many of the circumstances I raised, but a wall, a barrier on the southern border may have, and that's what we're fighting for.
Mr. Chairman.
Well,
gentlemen will suspend.
Gates also pushed to have the 2 fathers removed from the hearing. They were in D.C. as invited guests to the State of the Union address that was on Tuesday. Well, we have an update to a story we mentioned on the afternoon edition yesterday. We now know Holly Bell is the state's first director of cannabis. She recently headed up Tennessee's industrial hemp program. Freed says she and Bell are focusing on growing what they believe will be a multi-billion-dollar industry. This comes as Governor Ron DeSantis called for an end to Florida's medical marijuana smoking ban. He's giving lawmakers until March 15th to repeal it. Some big changes are coming to the city of Daytona Beach. The city council unanimously approved an ordinance banning panhandling in certain areas. No panhandling is allowed within 20 feet of a business, ATM, or bank. The boardwalk is off limits. Panhandlers also need to be 100 feet away from schools. Some business owners and workers say they're happy with the changes, but others say panhandling helps them simply survive.
I look like your personal banker. I didn't come here to support you. You know, pull up your big boy pants.
Try to respect the rules, you know what I'm saying? We got to eat out here too, you know. It's not easy to get a job like that. All jokes, I do have a job, but I do still panhandle.
Daytona Beach police say people who don't follow the rules could be fined or even sent to jail. Today is the day NASA observes its Day of Remembrance, the agency honoring the astronauts killed in the Apollo 1, Challenger, and Columbia disasters. This is video from last year's event at the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. The anniversaries of all 3 disasters were last week. NASA postponed the Day of Remembrance to today because most of its workers were furloughed during the partial government shutdown. In Polk County, shots fired at deputies there led to an hours-long standoff. This afternoon, one person is in custody after surrendering. Deputies responded to a home in Davenport about a family disturbance, and they say a man inside fired several shots at the deputies. There were no injuries. Crisis negotiators spent 6 hours trying to defuse the situation before the man surrendered just after 4 o'clock in the morning. A 21-year-old woman rushed to the hospital after what is described as a hard fall at Skydive DeLand yesterday. Happened around 5:30 in the evening. Witnesses told investigators her parachute was fully deployed before she attempted to make a turn, couldn't stabilize herself, and then hit a gravel walkway. At last check, the woman is in critical but stable condition. We went through our archives, too, found a number of crashes or accidents at Skydive DeLand. As a matter of fact, we've reported on at least 5 deaths since 2010. All right, well, if you are a customer with BB&T or SunTrust, you want to listen to this. The two are the largest in the Southeast. They plan to join forces. BB&T and SunTrust announced they are combining in a $66 billion deal. They say the combined company will be the 6th largest bank in the country. Both banks have dozens of branches in Central Florida. And actually, they plan to choose a new name before that deal officially closes. I wanted to show you this. This is in Missouri, a school bus sliding down a hill and tipping over. Incredible video. I want to show that to you again. Look at that, right on its side. 3 kids and 2 grown-ups have some sprains and bruises, but they're okay. Missouri and a number of other Midwest states have been dealing with freezing rain. If you're not familiar with what that is, it's rain that falls as liquid, but the drops freeze on contact because there's a very thin layer of freezing temperatures right at the surface, hence freezing rain. And it causes everything to become almost an ice skating rink and, well, causes all sorts of problems, as you see right there. My goodness. 12:11 right now. Time for another look at weather on the ones, which we do every 10 here on 13. Certified meteorologist David Hecker to tell you what, that have you ever seen freezing rain? Have you ever had to deal with it?
Yeah, I was born and raised in the Midwest.
There you go.
A lot of freezing rain.
It is like it's like an ice skating rink.
Yeah, and you did a great description of it. It looks like regular rain, but as it actually hits the ground, it freezes on contact, just creates almost a coating of ice on everything, trees, power lines, and even on the roadways. Nothing like that here, clearly, as we look live at the Ruin Ziffer Cam at the Ocean Deck Restaurant in Daytona Beach. A great midday if you live along the coastline, just to get out and walk the area if you can. Temperatures outside right now at noon, not too bad. We're holding in the mid to even upper 70s. 78 currently in Orlando, 77 Daytona, 75 in Palm Coast, and we're 76 degrees right now in the Leesburg area. Still nice and quiet on Storm Tracker 13 live Doppler radar. That's going to be the trend line once again as we move into the remainder of the afternoon hours. Overall, just looking like another fantastic day and definitely well above average. Keep in mind our average high temperature this time of year, low 70s. We're going to push, it looks like, into the upper 70s and low 80s in many locations. Let's kind of break down what to expect here in Futurecast. We'll move towards the afternoon hours at 4 o'clock. Going to just kind of have a light variable wind, maybe east-southeast if you're right up against the coastline. And because the Atlantic waters are still quite chilly, if you're up against I-95, you are going to be talking about temperatures, I think, low to mid-70s. The rest of us, though, we're going to soar, it looks like, with temperatures upper 70s and low 80s. Not much going on here as we move into the evening hours. 7 o'clock, again, just a light easterly wind. Maybe a light jacket with temperatures kind of falling back into the 60s. But again, just a light jacket will be sufficient. You don't really need to pile on the layers at all here as we move into the evening hours. 11 o'clock also looking pretty nice across the area. And kind of a repeat performance as we move into tomorrow. We'll once again see a little bit of patchy fog developing as we move towards the daybreak hours, and then tomorrow's looking like another great day across the area. Changes begin to arrive, though, as we move into the weekend. Saturday and Sunday, we have rain chances both days. Right now, it looks like Sunday would be the better of the 2 rain chances, and temperatures holding, it looks like, into the mid-70s. Maureen will be back to show you the next 7 days. That's coming up in less than 10 minutes. Right now, another live look at Storm Tracker 13 Doppler radar.